Of downsizing. Colleen Lyle, Trinity Stone, thank you so much for coming by.
Happy
Great
Valentine's
to see you.
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. You know, you're thinking about folks who are thinking about that downsizing.
Yep.
Maybe the kids have just now, they're off to university or they're out of the house completely, and folks are looking at each other going, a lot of space here. Let's downsize.
Well, also people, you know, also thinking outside the box. It's not just for older people, right? Myself as an empty nester, it's also about people who have shifted their goals in life. And so, and just decided this is a big home. We don't need it. We'd rather do other things rather than maintain this home.
Okay, let's go through some of the things that you say we should consider when you're downsizing. Here we go. Point number one, available amenities.
So are you wanting to go out to the country, right? And then you're going to drive to the local grocery store? Or are you wanting to go to yoga and have the local gym really close by? Do you want to walk to your bakery, right? What do you need and what are you hoping to accomplish? So what's important to you? Because for some people, it's like, I'm okay with driving everywhere. And other people are like, no, I want to have my doctor, dentist, and everybody close by. So you have to think about that. Even if you're bringing children with you, local parks, right? So you have to really think about that when you're considering downsizing.
Okay, and another thing to consider here when you're downsizing is close proximity to neighbors. Do you want them on top of you or around?
Exactly. So are you okay with people living this close to each other, or are you wanting personal space? Because if you're moving alone, you may want interaction with other people. I met someone just yesterday at the office, and she's moving to a home, and she's hoping for that communication, where for others, they're like, no, I'm done with city living, I'm good, and I don't need people around me. So you have to think about that.
This is all really important to discuss with your partner, your family, even your realtor before you make that move. Like really sit with it, right?
Yeah, every time we talk, Rosie, it's about creating the plan. And these are really important questions.
Okay, let's go on to the next one here. You need to consider this when you're downsizing, which is home office needs.
Now, everybody knows that people are still working from home.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that consideration, do you have internet access? And then do you need a separate office, or we all know now that small living, you may have to purchase a small corner, right? And just do a different, or are you okay with doing home office in the kitchen? You know, how much privacy do you need?
Some people might be okay with that, just converting it when they need it in the kitchen to an office. And some people really need a dedicated space.
And there are, especially being a government town, there are people who need an absolute separate entity for privacy, and so you have to think about what your needs are.
Okay, next up, the number of people in your household.
Absolutely. So are you bringing children with you, or is it just you? Is it you and your partner? Also, the number of people, I also add number of family members. Are there fur babies involved?
This is true.
Are there fur babies involved? Because if there are fur babies involved, and you decide to, let's say, go to an apartment, will they allow for them? So there are limitations. So with your fur babies, are they outdoor fur babies, or are they indoor, and are they okay with the move? So you have to think about, do you need, how many bedrooms? Are they willing to share a bedroom, right? If the kids are willing to. So downsizing has many considerations.
Yeah, and like you said, it's all about planning here. So here's the next point when you're planning a downsizing, what to consider: your personal space.
Yes, and you hinted on that, Rosie. So is it just you and you're okay with, you don't need personal space, or are you really, are you willing to share? Because there are condos where you have shared areas of pools and kitchens and stuff, so co-op kind of situation. Are you okay with that? Because co-op living, does exist here in Ottawa. And so are we looking at sharing a space, or you're like, no, this is my space and I want my own yard, and I need to dissolve after the day and I don't want to share my outdoor space with anybody.
Colleen Lyle, we're talking about downsizing and what you need to know. But downsizing sort of sounds negative.
And it's not, right? I myself have downsized even with 3 children when they were young.
Right.
So downsizing may just be financial considerations or just a change of lifestyle. I've had many clients who just say, you know what, we want to go to Disney every year. And Disney's not so, it's not on the cheap. So it's just different. Or you're downsizing because you don't need the space or you don't want to maintain the yard, right? You have to consider different things. So downsizing is not negative. It's just my life has changed.
Yeah.
And so there are different things to consider as we've been talking about today.
Well, let's continue with that conversation about downsizing and the things that you need to consider. Future visitors.
So whether if you're downsizing and you're in, your mid-30s with the kids, are you still planning to entertain? Right? Are you going to have the Super Bowl party? Right? Or do you have grandkids and you would like to be grandma or grandpa who has grandkids come over and stay? So you have to figure out what your life looks like and really think about that with your space, because there's nothing more frustrating going, I can't entertain because I don't have, the dining room that I really want with 20 grandkids, right?
Yeah, exactly. So think about that. Next up here, storage needs. Like if you're downsizing, obviously the space is going to be smaller.
Perfect example. I went down to my basement and when I just came back, and there's a big Christmas tree in my basement. And my daughter's like, I bought a Christmas tree and now I'm putting it in mom and dad's house.
Oh, yes.
So how much storage do you need, right? And what do you need to store? And it's also, the one thing I say great about moving, it gives you time to edit. One way or the other, it gives you time to edit and compress what you have and what you really need. So there's a difference between wants and needs. So it's a great time to edit.
Okay. Next up here. Okay, so when you're thinking of downsizing, you need to consider financial goals.
You do, because it is a commitment, yet what are your financial goals? Are you planning on retiring in 5 years? Or is financial, again, as I mentioned, are you planning to travel a little bit more?
Sure.
And you just want lock and key and not have to worry about the yard, right? So you have to think about your plan. And it doesn't matter, even if you're downsizing or upsizing, it doesn't matter. When you are considering a real estate move, whatever it is, you have to think about your financial goals. As we talked about so many times on this show, right? What is the game plan? Or are you downsizing and thinking of having children, right?
Okay.
So think about that.
Okay. And what else do we have here? You got to think about the
Your
furniture that you already have. Right.
Some people are very glued to their furniture, and there might be something that you've inherited or you spent a lot of money on. Does it fit, right? And a lot of people will go, but I need to keep this huge sectional that fits 20 people. You're not going to probably get that in. The other thing as well is, and it sounds funny, when you're downsizing, even if it's just to like a townhome, from big home to a townhome,
Sure.
does a couch fit down those awkward stairs?
Yes.
So so you have to think about your furniture and where you want to put it, and are you willing to let it go
if it doesn't fit?
Yeah.
All right. And the final point that you have about considerations to make when you're downsizing is
your future plans, as we've been talking about. What are your plans, right? Do you need a yard? Do you want to garden? Or do you want to close house, right? You have to think about, and no matter what the real estate goal is, you always should think 3 to 5 years ahead, always.
Colleen Lyle, it's always great talking to you from Trinity Stone Realty. If you have any questions for Colleen, you can reach out to her. ColleenLyle.com, and there's a phone number, 613-417-3599, and also TrinityStoneRealty.com. That is the website, and that concludes our edition of Ask the Expert for today.